all these delays are fucking insane. There's so many. That's what we're opening the show with, because there's so many. And you have a conspiracy, and I wanna hear about it. I want the listeners to hear about it.
Oh, well, I have two new conspiracies, and up until now, my favorite coronavirus conspiracy was that it was a ploy to keep everyone inside while they change the batteries in all the birds.
Which is, yeah.
You're right. Which is all but confirmed.
Yeah.
And so this other conspiracy theory, one, of course, was that it's all a ploy to further delay the release of Avatar 2, which is one of the movies that is being delayed. We'll go through the list in a second here. But the most convincing theory that I have, stumbled across now is that, I don't know if you heard about this, Joe, but last week, McDonald's decided to stop doing all-day breakfast.
Oh my God.
They're putting that on the back burner indefinitely as of right now.
Wow.
For some sort of COVID-related thing. I don't remember exactly what it is, but they're getting rid of all-day breakfast, which they just started doing last year, maybe 2 years ago, something.
Yeah.
So I think that McDonald's having the all-day breakfast was just too powerful. I mean, that's power to overthrow cities.
What's next?
To topple
Wendy's?
Governments. No, the Wendy's breakfast isn't going anywhere. I think that's a whole.
I don't even know if that's any
a
good.
dummy government. That's not even real.
I don't even know if that's any good.
Up.
Have you tried the Wendy's breakfast?
No.
I don't know if it's any good. I don't know. I like Wendy's, but I don't know if their breakfast would be good. I like Wendy's for their not breakfast items.
Yeah, I guess so. Me too. I don't know. I need a Frosty for breakfast.
Oh yeah,
potentially
Frosties are
it could
so
be good,
dude. Okay, debate me if you want, but Wendy's is the best fast food. Like,
I can understand why you would say that.
What's your choice? Don't say McDonald's.
It's not McDonald's.
Okay, because that is not it.
Are these just like burger joints?
I wouldn't count Five Guys. I wouldn't count Five Guys, and I wouldn't count Chick-fil-A, because we could count Chick-fil-A, but I don't count Chick-fil-A. I think Chick-fil-A is like
it's in a league all its own.
Yeah, I don't.
But I would go for Popeyes.
Oh, Popeyes does count, yeah. Yeah,
I'm a chicken guy.
Yeah, I can see Popeyes. I'm glad you're a Popeyes guy. Oh my God, we've been through this. Popeyes. I say Popeyes. Oh
no,
my
you
God. Don't. I do.
Not anymore. Not when I'm around.
How do you say Popeye the Sailor Man?
What the fuck? Pop.
I guess it is Popeye.
Yeah. It's not a U. It's not a soft A. It's a fucking O, Joe.
I say Popeyes. I don't know.
No, you don't.
Nah,
that changed right now.
Oh my God. But welcome to Film Juice. Glad we got that settled. I'm glad you're not a KFC person though. KFC's fine, but it's not any better than Popeyes. We got a good show for you guys today. This is a show where we talk about movies, shows, entertainment, and all the like. I'm your host, Joe Dorado.
And I'm Andrew Canada, the other host of this show after Joe Dorado, the first host, who is there.
And you know what? We're just going to start right out the gate with some news straight out of the Comic-Con, the whole Comic-Con thing. Yeah, we got it. Well, there's the Comic-Con event, but it's like digital. And we're going to, before we get into all of the delays, as we previously mentioned, because we do have a lot of delays, we will quickly, I do quickly want to say one of the highlights of the thing that we actually I forgot to mention before the show to Andrew. G4 is coming back, which is insane. I
What's
don't know.
G4?
G4 was the network that was like they were the like kind of like they did video game stuff. They also they did like Comic-Con stuff. They did like movie. They did a lot of entertainment stuff, like just entertainment. Like, and they did the show. The show they're probably most famous for is Attack of the Show, which
I've heard of that.
Great show. Ninja Warrior originated on G4 from what I remember when I was a kid. That's what I remember seeing it on. Old school. And then they also had parkour stuff on G4, which was really funny. It was just a really cool network. I gotta say there's no other television network like it, and it was my favorite network when it was on. It also was famous for X-Play, which was like the famous video game like TV talk show. It was like the only one like of its kind basically on TV. So it was cool that it brought a different energy to cable when cable was very relevant. And obviously it got taken off the air, which was sad. But surprise, no one saw it coming, but it's coming back. The network made basically had a teaser, and it's coming back, and it's crazy. I don't think they're gonna have the old hosts because they're all. From what I saw, it doesn't look like they were under the impression it was happening either.
Oh.
I don't think they're. It's been so long. I don't think they're gonna have the old hosts. I think they're gonna try to do new hosts, which is fine. I think that's honestly probably the move. If anything, they'll have the old hosts guest star or something. But I think it's exciting. We don't know what's going to happen of it. All they did was tease it. We don't know whether it's going to be like, fully TV cable or if it's going to be a streaming thing. Like no clue. But I'm excited just as an old fan of the network, and it was the most unique network at the time, I feel like, and I'm glad to have it back, just even if it's not that good, like when it comes back, like just for nostalgia's sake. I think it'll be a cool thing. I know that's not specifically movies and movie and TV related, but it's entertainment related, and I think it's pretty cool. And that's definitely the biggest thing I've seen out of that whole Comic-Con thing so far. So yeah. Anyway, I know that was out of left field. Did you so you never watched G4, Andrew?
No, never.
It was
I've heard of it, and the more you talk about it,
yeah, it was pretty cool. I think you would have liked Attack of the Show. I think you would have been a fan. But anyhow, let's get right into these delays. Like we got a lot of them. We'll just blow by them because we got quite the show today, and we just want to get to that. But there's also so many delays. So we're gonna first start with Spider-Man: Far From Home, the sequel to Spider-Man: Far From Home, Spider-Man 3, which doesn't have a title. It's scheduled that got delayed to December 17th, 2021. So more than a year, which is nuts. Then A Quiet Place 2 has been delayed from September 4th, 2020 to April 23rd, 2021. A little less than a year, but still, that's a pretty hefty delay. Maverick has been pushed back from December 23rd this year to July 2nd, 2021.
Wow.
So that's another really, really long delay. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has received, this was just an announcement, but it received a release date of April 8th, 2022. Not that, that's not really a delay, but that's more of an announcement. We got another one. Hold on, there's such a huge list. I just want to say the really relevant ones. Wait, was that actually? Oh, Avatar 2 got delayed. I honestly can't remember
That
the
movie's never
exact.
coming out.
It got delayed to like 2021 or 2022 or something like that. Like
It's never coming out.
it's dude.
I guarantee it.
No, it's not. So yeah, I think that's actually it. Actually, I thought there was more than that, but now that I'm looking, I think that's all I can find. That's a lot of delays.
It is a lot of delays. It's interesting. You also have Bill and Ted, but that's going to come out on VOD.
I also think New Mutants. Oh, Wes Anderson's The French Dispatch, the next Wes Anderson film, has been indefinitely postponed. So yeah, we'll see. Oh, and the new Star Wars movies that were going to come out are also delayed a year. So Avatar 2 is not coming out until December 2022, and Mulan is not coming out on August 21st. It has been delayed indefinitely. This sucks because this is going to hurt transit. This is going to hurt drive-ins a lot. I was really hoping that they were going to just do some of these releases still and have release them digitally and then also have them for drive-ins, but it doesn't look like they're going with that route, which I understand. Like, they could get more money if they hold out, but it sucks because I was really looking forward to drive-ins doing super well this summer, and I think they've done well so far, but I think they might start to decline if they obviously they can keep playing classics, which is what they've been doing, and I'll be fine with that, but
I think for the meantime, though, they'll be able to, maintain a certain level by doing that, just because it's not like those new movies are coming out anywhere else.
Yeah, no.
You do have some on the video on demand, but a lot of them obviously are just gonna wait this out.
Yeah, New Mutants has not been confirmed to go on a streaming service yet, but I am very, very certain that it will.
It would surprise me if it didn't.
We have Bill and Ted obviously going to be on demand and in select theaters on September 1st. And there was one more. We had we talked about it last week, but just in case you didn't hear, Tenet is the one that kind of started everything. Tenet got indefinitely delayed. So it kind of sucks. I kind of wish in the meantime we'd get some more video on demand ones. I mean, we're going to get a couple, but doesn't look like we're going to get too many, sadly. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think of the delays, Andrew?
I think that this year it's just everybody's just taking the year off. I mean,
yeah,
I think that maybe some of them still are trying to wait it out in hopes. There's that Tesla movie with Ethan Hawke that we were talking about off mic.
Yes.
That supposedly still has a theatrical release date in mind for late August, which is not going to happen.
No.
So I think that, it just is what it is. It's kind of how it's got to be. It's, there's not much to say. I think they're just taking a year off, and I think that they maybe are only going to make it worse, or would have only made it worse if they were just going to keep pushing things back, by smaller amounts of time and then delaying them like years, the way they are. I think that's the way it has to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the delays are a little extreme, but we can't.
Better safe than sorry.
No. I get that. I think they could have done maybe like January, but
difficult. I mean, you have to space these things out.
Yeah.
And you have to consider when other studios are going to put their movies out and this and that.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. That's true. It's very true. So it makes sense. It's a bummer, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's a bummer, but we'll see what happens. In other news, The Boys season 3, before season 2 has even come out. Season 3 it's been officially renewed for season 3, which is nuts.
I don't think it's that nuts at all, man. It's a good show.
It's
and
awesome.
This second season is definitely going to be really good too.
Yeah, I think that tells us, if that tells us anything, it's that the producers and like everyone who saw it already like have high hopes for it. So that's fucking sick, dude. I'm kind of excited. I think it's gonna look really. I think it's gonna be really cool. I think it's gonna be
without
really
a doubt.
cool.
I liked all the teasers that they've put out so far.
Yeah, they released a new one with. They released one of the things that came out of the Comic-Con is they released a clip from what's it called? From a scene where they're like in the they're in the middle of like the ocean or a sea or whatever, and they're on a boat and they're trying to make it to land, but the aqua guy superhero is like following them. And I don't know if you saw that one with the whale. Pretty good.
I didn't see it actually. I'm gonna check that out.
That's a pretty good one. It's short, but it's pretty cool. It makes me feel like I already know where they're gonna go with that. Because if you see it, you'll understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
I definitely see where they're going with that, with the Aqua guy superhero's character, which I think is actually pretty exciting. I hope it's not as predictable as I think it's gonna be, but I still think it's a cool idea. So that's exciting. The only other thing I believe is Zack Snyder. We got more teases from the Zack Snyder cut for Justice League, and it was Henry Cavill in the Superman black suit, which we have never seen except in photos, but we actually saw like a scene, like a clip from a scene.
Yeah, he shows up and meets up with Alfred.
Yeah.
I don't know where that clip came from exactly, but it's out there now. And it's pretty, it's so short. It's pretty cool.
It is.
There's they do the Jurassic Park thing, which I don't want to say any more than that. I think a lot of folks will know exactly what I mean when I say that, but
don't know if I know what you mean. And I watched it. What?
Oh.
They do the Jurassic Park thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, I understand. I get it. Yes, they do. And that is a cool part. I just don't know. Isn't he supposed to be like not good when he's in the black suit? Like, isn't that?
Oh,
no. Okay,
not to my knowledge.
I thought the whole thing in the comics is when he wore the black suit, he was like
bad.
I thought it was like, because I know there's different Superman, like there's different the different timelines of Superman. I just didn't know. I thought that's what the whole point of the black suit was. I don't know.
No, from my recollection of Superman Doomsday, and I could be completely, but I don't know. I'm really sure that I'm not wrong about this, but that he just wears that suit once he's like resurrects. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of
cool.
like it is designed to help his cells absorb sunlight more
that's
quickly,
cool.
so he can recuperate faster.
Okay, I didn't know that. Sweet. I like that. I didn't know that. I just thought it was like he was like supposed to be bad, or like when he like first breaks out in Justice League and like he kind of loses it. I thought it was gonna have to be in line with that, but it
like,
wasn't.
oh, he must be feeling better. He's not wearing the black suit anymore.
Yeah. Spider-Man 3, baby.
Oh,
and then yeah, that's about it. We just got a lot of delays and some cool things come out, and yeah, I think we are on track for some good announcements. I hope more things get announced. And yeah, that's about it for movie news and show news this week. I think we should just get right into the movies this week.
yeah, absolutely.
So,
we gotta jump in.
Our first movie today is the Netflix original, one that just came out, The Old Guard, starring Charlize Theron, the star of Mad Max Fury Road and countless other films.
Name one.
Wow.
What? I heard clicking. Are you on her IMDb? She was in Atomic Blonde. She was in a movie called Youth in Revolt.
I know her, Phil.
I'm thinking of a different movie actually.
But she was in
Michael
Atomic
Cera movie.
I don't know.
But yeah.
Yes. Either way.
Young adult, maybe. What the hell? She was in some movie. With Patton Oswalt. It was like a dark comedy.
Guess I'm pulling up her IMDb. Gotta get to the bottom of that. But anyway, she is in Monster, Snow White and the Huntsman, Tully.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Waiting music. Yeah, it's not important, Joe. I was fucking important. Let's keep going.
Okay, let's keep going. Anyways, The Old Guard.
Who are you? You can call me Andy. I lead a group of soldiers. Fighters, like you. With an extremely rare skill set.
What do you mean? Mother?
Let's just say we're very hard to kill.
Stars Charlize Theron, and it is a Netflix original action movie. And so the whole movie follows, just I'll quickly summarize it. The whole
I'm gonna start the stopwatch.
What?
I'm starting the stopwatch.
Okay. The whole movie follows Charlize Theron's character, Andy, who is with three other, like, she has a group of people, her army, quote unquote, and they are a group of immortals who, if they die, they're like basically soldiers that if they die, they come back to life, and they're just unstoppable. They're just insane. And they've been around since like the Aztecs and like
since forever. We don't even know. They're all from different periods.
Yeah, they're all from different periods.
And we don't know how long Andy has actually been around, but we know she's the oldest.
Yeah, I assume the Aztecs, but also, we don't know. But it follows them, and they basically do throughout the centuries, they kind of try and help humanity in what ways they can and make a difference with using their abilities. And they, they're in the present day now. They're starting to get kind of tired of mainly Andy's character, I should say, is starting to get tired of the whole routine and is getting more worried about being discovered because of all the new technology and stuff like that and being seen. So they end up picking up a job, and they get set up at this job. And that is basically I don't want to give away too much. Basically, they're on the run, and along the way, they pick up a new immortal soldier, and yeah, they haven't had a new immortal soldier in a long time. So that was like a whole
since
so
the
that's a
Civil
big
War.
deal. Yeah, so that's a big deal. So that's the basically it's basically the movie.
Sure.
I don't want to give away too much.
The one thing that I would say that you kind of left out, Joe, is that they are on the run from this guy. What the hell is his name? It's not Malik. That's from something else. Merrick.
I think it is Merrick. Yes.
Who owns some sort of technology company, and they're trying to discover the ultimate cure that they can sell. And they think that, they obviously,
big pharma.
Seeing these immortal guys, they're trying to capture them so they can do tests, try and use their DNA to create the ultimate cure and sell that to humanity. That's who they're running from.
That is huge, of course. I didn't want to give. I don't know. I was worried about giving away too much, but yeah, that's actually very important to know. And yeah, that's about it. That's about it with the summary.
And it's based on a graphic novel.
I did not know that.
Written by Greg Rucka, who also wrote the screenplay for this movie.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is it's interesting. We'll get right into it here.
Yeah.
The biggest flaw, I would say, in this movie is that a lot of the dialogue is absolutely terrible. It's really shitty.
Bad.
There's a lot of it's not, some of the lines themselves aren't overly expositional, but the situations that they get written into are very dull.
Oh my god.
And just there for the purpose of exposition.
Yeah. This whole movie, for the most part, is all telling and not showing. It sucks. Like,
yeah,
this movie could be so. It's
a lot of like
entertaining.
Sorry to interrupt you, Joe, but I just want to set it up for people if you haven't seen it. It's a lot of like the group of 5 is sitting in a circle, and then Andy gets up and the new person asks a question, and then one of the others will explain it. And you'll see maybe like a few clips of a flashback, like images of a flashback. For example, this might even happen actually in the movie, but an example of one of the questions this new person will ask. This is Niall's character, played by Kiki Lane, who's actually, I think, very good.
Yes.
She'll ask the group how many others are there? And then they'll be like, well, Andy was blah, blah, blah. And you see a couple flips. And then it's just like Charlize Theron, like standing, like 10 feet away, looking out a window with her head against a windowsill or something. That's probably 6 scenes in the movie.
Oh
maybe not
God.
6, but it's
like
lot. 4. It's like 4 scenes in the movie are that.
This movie is 2 hours long. It's way too long.
And
this movie feels like 3 hours.
There's a part it's about an hour 10 minutes in where there's still like we still don't understand exactly the origins of everything that we need to know.
No.
And they have yet another expository scene.
They tried to
in the middle.
Yeah.
It stinks.
They tried to put too much into this.
I guess maybe they were trying to space it out, but I don't know. At least they didn't do that thing that we always talk about. The flashback voiceover type deal.
They did that,
but it did start in a weird way.
They did that in the beginning.
Not in the way I mean. Not like I'm talking about in the way that like Hellboy did it, the newer Hellboy.
Oh yeah,
where you have an entire like someone explaining the whole past,
or like Artemis Fowl. Yeah,
it's Artemis Fowl.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Not like Not like what they did in this one.
I got you. Yeah, dude, it's oh my god. So this movie feels so long, and when this movie started, I was like, okay, this could be good. Like I was like the intro is super weird. I like it.
Yeah,
it's just jarring.
I didn't like it.
I didn't either.
Especially because I guess I want to try to avoid spoilers here. But so the thing, it does that thing. The only movie that I can think of off the top of my head that does it is War Dogs with Miles Teller and Jonah Hill, where they it's one of those things where they show not even a full scene, like a very short like ending to a scene. So you see the climax of a scene, or what know you would assume to be the climax of the scene, and then they like stop it, and the character's like, you bet you're wondering how I got here. That's not exactly like what they did in this one, but and then we watch the movie, and basically at the end where we see the point that we saw at the first. But here we see the full version, the actual version of the opening scene. We see that like 30-40 minutes in, maybe?
No, like 20, maybe.
Yeah, like 20 like minutes
10.
in. Yes,
like
even
it's
less.
Really short.
It's because right there, like that. Why even do that? That's completely pointless.
It's so strange. Yeah, it is. I
guess just scenes. to surprise you a little more with it shows their abilities. Yeah. Once you get to that point,
they could have cut out.
But so it completely. Much. It was certain. It was. You could have done the exact same thing without having to do any of that.
Yep. They could have
I did not like in the slightest.
They could have just started out with the scene where they could have started out with that and not showed anything in the beginning. And
especially because in the very beginning, when they kind of, I don't know where they've been, but they sort of meet up. They must have been on vacation or something, taking some time apart. But the team of 4, this is before they discover Niles, the team of 4, they sort of meet back up, and it's one of the worst. It's bad. I think it's a terrible intro for characters. There's a scene where Charlize Theron, I guess this is something that they wanted to do to show that she's been around the block a lot.
Oh, the eating thing.
She eats like this piece of baklava, and then she deconstructs it and is able to tell like the exact region where it's from.
Yeah.
And they're all like, you owe me $20 because she got it or whatever. It's like, oh my God, that's pretty stupid. I'm sorry to say. I wish I had a better way of saying that.
You know what's funny?
It was pretty stupid.
That's one of the few times where there is like showing and not telling in the movie too, which is like so strange. Like it's that part. Like they pick the weirdest parts to like actually use the camera and the actors instead of just contextual dialogue. Yeah, man. So they could have shaved so much off of this movie. And the thing that sucks about this movie is not only are there only like 2 action scenes in the entire movie, like 2, there are actually like, there's maybe 3. I don't even know if I'd count one of them though. So it's like 2. And there's the one in the beginning and the one at the end. And the one in the beginning is so shaky and so choppy. I hated it. It's so terribly shot, and it's the exact opposite of how you should shoot any. It's not the standard anymore. It's not the standard.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you bring that up because counterpoint to that, while there's not necessarily a lot of action scenes, I'd say there's still some action in this movie for like when Niles first, there's a confrontation.
Yes.
They fight each other hand to hand, Niles and Andy.
Oh, yes.
And the way that scene is shot, I really liked. Because Charlize Theron, it was obvious that she, was trained in this. They didn't need to use a stunt person for that scene.
No, she's insane.
So that one was good. It was shot wide. You could see, I think it really allowed the audience to better understand the action and see sort of the subtleties in her movements. So I thought that scene in particular was really well choreographed, really well done. And the longer takes and shots, I mean, that's what you really want to see from an action movie, not like what you're saying with that initial action scene where it is, it's pretty hard to see anything.
Yeah, that's
to the point where I almost wonder if it's intentional. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't care if it's intentional. I think it's lazy.
Yeah.
And I think it's...
You know what? I think that's probably more accurate to what it actually is.
I really didn't like the intro of the first 30 minutes of this movie is like trash. And then you get to the part where it gets interesting, where they introduce the new person, which that part, it's like, okay, cool. Like this is more, once she gets introduced, things get a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
And
here's
then
the thing. I think that this movie, the supernatural elements are atypical enough to keep you mostly engaged throughout the runtime, or at least throughout the most of the movie. It's because aside from that, it's so by the books. The acting, honestly, across the board is not great. Although I would say that most of that is probably the terrible dialogue.
Yep.
So that element of mystery, that's the one thing that I would say will keep you a little keep you watching for a little bit, a little more enticed.
Yeah, honestly, I see where you're coming from there. I have to say, this movie, I had to check the time on the movie so many times. I wanted it to be over so badly. I can't believe how bored I was while watching this movie. I was unbelievably bored. There was 2 scenes that were interesting to watch, but the issue with this movie is it relies, since there isn't a lot of action there, there's I'll agree with you on that one scene, and I'll agree there's the last scene and the first scene, and there's a couple, but for the most part there's long spurts of just nothing going on except exposition. And it's so reliant on you liking the characters and you being connected with the characters and you being interested in the lore. And I just
the lore thing worked for me. It really did. Connecting to the characters, I mean, Jesus Christ.
You could
definitely tell, especially at the end, there's a couple parts where they are expecting you to be all in on these characters.
Yeah.
And you're definitely not.
No, the only characters I think were actually really good and I really liked them was the character, it was the couple, Joe and
Nikki.
They were great. They had a great chemistry, and
they did have a good chemistry. I think that the thing that they had going for them was that they obviously had a lot more depth than the other characters that we were seeing. Even Niles, who is obviously struggling now that she realizes that she's an immortal warrior like these other guys. So they have that going for them. I still wasn't super in on their characters. I just thought that, and I think most of that was just some of the dialogue that they had.
Yeah, some of it was on the nose.
It was too on the nose.
Yeah.
So I didn't really care for that. And I mean, I was certainly attached to them more than others, but definitely not as much as the movie wanted me to be.
I see that. I really liked them. I like I said, I think their chemistry pulled me in more than anything else, but I do agree with the lines.
The thing, I don't
The lines were on the nose.
I think their chemistry was, at least, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but the chemistry for me, I got so much of it from their actions.
Yeah.
As opposed to,
of course,
once they tried to sort of create chemistry again with that dialogue, it was just bad.
I agree. I completely agree. But that when they were not having terrible lines fed to them, they were really compelling, I think, to watch on screen. In comparison to, like, I think the other main characters. Other than, I will say, oh shoot, what's her name? What's the new girl's name? Niall. She was pretty good too. I like her story was so by the numbers, but like it was fine.
Well, she was there as a plot device, right? Like she was there especially just so that they could explain stuff to us.
Yeah, it was just so I just didn't like it. One thing that was interesting, there was the only part, and this is I think where you're talking about where the lore kind of like you liked it. The only part that was compelling contextual wise was the one flashback with, and this isn't a spoiler because if you watch the movie, like, you're not going to know, the old friend of Andy's with, I won't say what happens, but the whole thing with the old friend of Andy's.
Yeah, one of the warriors.
Yes.
One of these immortal warriors that there's been that, didn't make it is not with them now.
Yeah. That was awesome. I really liked the imagery in that whole sequence.
Yeah, the end of that sequence was really great.
Oh, it's like a little unnerving, and that's why I really liked it. I just think, though, that's the only part of the lore that I actually like enjoyed seeing. Everything else, which is at least an hour or so of the movie, I could do without. This movie could have been an hour and a half easy.
Oh my gosh, that is unbelievably true. I mean, just cutting out that first scene,
30 minutes. 30 minutes of the movie in the beginning could have been chopped. I think this movie, you know what's crazy? I feel like if they wanted to put this much information and this much lore and history into the movie, they could have made this a great series. This movie would have been so much better as a TV show.
Joe, can we pause for a second?
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're good.
All right, sorry about that, pal. Thank you.
You're all good. So let's get right into it. So yeah, I think this would be a much better TV show. What do you think about that?
My gosh, this would be a great TV show, man.
Yep. This would be so much better. They'd be able to fit everything into it. They would have been able to fit everything they needed to into it. Like, because this is the thing, TV shows have those slow episodes where they build stuff up and they set things up. That's fine. That's normal for a TV show. It makes sense for a TV show. It doesn't work in a movie, though. It doesn't. You can't do that. You have 2 hours to keep an hour and a half to 2 hours to keep this person entertained and engaged. And I was so unbelievably bored. I had to keep checking how much longer was on the movie. I couldn't wait for it to be over. I actually, this was a slog to get through. And it was just, I hate to say this, but watching Artemis Fowl felt quicker than watching this movie.
I don't disagree with that in the slightest. I get that this movie is, it's aside from the supernatural stuff, it's very by the numbers. And I keep going back to the script and how bad I think that it is. As far as the majority of the dialogue. But I mean, ultimately, I expected to feel exactly what you're describing. I expected that to feel a lot more than I did. And perhaps foolishly, it was just in hope that we were going to get more of the supernatural stuff. But I'll tell you the things that did. I think there were a few things that kind of kept pushing me forward a little bit, which was one, I liked I know you talked about in the first scene, you didn't like the way that was shot, which makes sense to me. But the thing that I appreciated about that I think comes through in that scene, and again, later on in the movie, is the choreography, the fight choreography that these guys have. As soon as they started, you could tell, like, oh, these guys, before you even knew that they, were immortal and that they could come back to life and stuff, and that they had been, around for a while. You could tell just by their fighting style, the way it was choreographed, that they had been working together for a very long time.
Yeah.
Here's the two other things that I really, really appreciated. These are my big things for the movie that I liked. Was I didn't know anything going into this movie.
No, me neither.
So when they were gearing up for that initial mission that we see at the very beginning, when Nikki is getting ready, he's got like the combat armor on, but he, with his hood up and stuff, he looks like he is getting ready to go into the Crusades. Later on, we find out that he actually was there. So that I liked that, because because I had in my notes, because I didn't know they were going to turn out to be immortal, I was like, Nikki is dressed up like this Crusades guy. They're going in, blah blah blah, and they go, oh, that makes sense. That's why. The other thing that I really liked was this moment. Oh man, I don't know. This might be a spoiler, so I don't want to spoil that scene.
Okay.
But I'll try not to spoil it.
Okay.
So when Niles is she's a Marine.
Yes.
And when we first meet her, she's in full combat gear. But the only thing through everything that she's wearing, she's got all that stuff on. Yeah, we can still see through the only little the only hole in her uniform or whatever, we can still see that she's wearing a cross, the symbol of resurrection.
Yeah.
And this is before, of course, we know that she's immortal, before she knows that she's immortal and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I thought
those
that
subtle
was
things. I liked that.
That one. I thought, I know you like your religious symbolism.
You thought that was too on the nose?
I thought it was way too on the nose. I was like, oh my God, of course. Like, I get it.
I understand.
I like more subtle symbolism. And
that's the thing. I mean, I liked it because I understood it. But I will say that if you're listening to this and you haven't watched the movie yet, but you want to, when you first see Niles, you'll be able to, the way that the necklace is placed is so obvious. Like, it looks unnatural. But I like that they tried to go for it.
That's true. I'll just quickly say the one thing I really liked, and this is honestly the only thing I really liked in the entire movie, other than that one particular scene of lore that they show. The only other thing that I really liked in this movie was the last fight scene, and like the one that we talked about previous on the plane. The last fight scene is actually really well shot. It's really well, like they actually show the action. It's really well choreographed, like you said, and it's actually like pretty compelling to watch. It actually, I'm going to retract that. It's not that compelling. It's fun to watch. It's not that compelling because the issue is obvious. This movie, you can do an immortal movie, action movie like this, and have some sense of danger. But this movie, just by the end, I wasn't invested enough to feel the danger for these characters.
Mm.
And that was a big issue. And I think that's a big issue of like this movie asks for a lot of investment and you can't give it.
True.
Like, so it
doesn't give you enough reason.
No. So that's why I think if this movie was a show, it would destroy. I think this would have been a great show. Like 8 episodes. If this was an 8-hour long series, it would be great. And I think I would have actually really enjoyed it. Like I think I would have loved this show if it was 8 hours, and like I think I would have really enjoyed it. But the last thing I want to say, and it's the worst part of the movie. This is worse than anything else in this movie, and that's hard to believe, but it is. The music in this movie absolutely fucking sucks. It is the worst music I've heard in a movie, like, since the Fast and the Furious movies. The music in this movie is trash, and it brought down the score of this movie at least a point. Like, it's so fucking bad. It is so... Every time a song came on, I was so upset. Like, it was so bad. I don't know if you can agree with me. It didn't fit in any way, and it was just awful. Like, I hated it so much. Like,
I think that there was definitely sort of a conflicting opinion on what to do with the music. I think to a certain extent, somebody involved with this somewhere along the line, I think definitely wanted it to feel either Kingsman-y or, I mean, we could even say Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, you know how in the Kingsman movies, there's those two, each one has a scene where the music is super prominent, and it's a phenomenal action scene. But that just doesn't go with this movie.
No.
It's interesting to me, the way that the music is so prominent in certain scenes, like, for example, it's weird. Oh man, it separates us from the action in a way. Well, there's one scene in particular where Andy's sort of doing her own thing, and then the music becomes very prominent, and it's almost like when earlier Niles is wearing her headphones, and that sound takes over everything. So it's interesting. There's a separation. It separates us from, in the Andy scene, it separates us from the action, and I think a way that maybe is supposed to symbolize the way that she is sort of separating herself from violence after having to see and create so much of it throughout her years. I will say, going back to the scene with Niles and her earbuds, that scene does happen right before she sort of joins up with these guys. So I think that it's, again, supposed to sort of symbolize that she's now separated from the world that she knew. But still, the music is not good.
No.
And it's jarring.
It's so bad.
I think it was just the wrong move.
If it was just different music, like, I'd be fine. Like, I don't think this music just was not the move. It wasn't. They went in the completely, I don't know.
I just felt a little out of place sometimes.
It felt very out.
Not all the time. Obviously, it didn't affect me as much as it affected you, but I can understand what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, it was just, in my opinion, I just didn't think it fit. I think if they had to go with a contemporary form of music, I feel like hip hop would have worked better. I just feel like there are other genres that would have worked a lot better than the one they picked. Anyway, that's all I got to say about this movie, honestly. I'm ready to rate this sucker if you are.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. You want to go first or you want me to go first?
I'm just trying to make sure I don't have anything else to say, but I think we've covered it all.
Sweet.
I definitely enjoyed this movie a little more than I thought I would. I wouldn't. Wow.
Surprised that it
I expected to really dislike it, Joe.
Really? I expected to like it. I didn't expect to dislike it.
I expected to dislike it, especially because I didn't know about the immortality thing. Like that bumps it. That bumps it up for me. And the way it was handled, I guess, was okay. The exposition obviously was terrible. But my score for this movie, I'm going to give it 7 juice boxes out of 10.
Holy shit! That's insane, dude.
Yeah, maybe it is.
That is nuts.
I guess I'd better stick with it.
You did not talk this movie up at all. Like, you talked it up a little bit, but not at all.
I don't know. I think there's just there's a certain enjoyment factor. Like, I think that I just think it's a 7.
Okay. I mean,
I could see giving it a 6, but I just like that, look, I'm giving it maybe more credit than it needs for it's at least attempting to differ itself from the typical movie that you're going to see that's like
you see the potential.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
I guess it doesn't make sense to give it points for that in some way, but
hey, it's your score.
I would put my enjoyment level for this movie, and all things if all things considered, maybe 6.5 is better.
Yeah, you rated it already. Stick to your guns.
But I'm gonna stick with a 7 for sure.
Yeah, dude, who cares? It's all about how you feel about it. It's your score. If anyone disagrees, fuck them. That's way higher than I thought you were gonna go. I was expecting 6.5, like you were saying for you. I'm giving this movie a 4.5 out of 10.
That is so low.
Yeah, this movie sucks, dude. This movie blows. This movie's not good. I almost gave it a 4. I gave it a 4.5 because it's not that bad, and I can see people watching it, and it's decently made. I did not enjoy enough of this movie to give it a positive score. I didn't enjoy enough of it to give it a mediocre score. So I have to give it below mediocre. I think this movie was unenjoyable for me to watch. If I have to check,
super low.
It's pretty low. It's pretty low, but I think it's a fair score for me. I really did not enjoy it.
If you say so, I definitely wouldn't have given it that low. I wonder if it's just because you expected to enjoy it, and I expected to enjoy it so much.
I think that is actually...
Yeah, this might be an interesting exercise in what that can do to how your rating and perception of a movie at the end of the day. So I guess people will just have to decide for themselves with this one.
Yeah, this movie has a lot of mixed reception, I think. So I think you can land on either side. Objectively, there's a lot wrong with this movie. It's just whether you can forgive it and enjoy,
sure, the other
those parts. Yeah, and that's fine if you do. It's just that's what's creating the divide, I believe. So yeah, but I was very excited to talk about it either way because I had a feeling that we were going to have either mixed opinions or stuff. I think it definitely proves to be good conversation. So that's The Old Guard. Check it out if you'd like. I certainly wouldn't recommend it, but if if you're gonna be on Netflix and you're in the mood to watch something new, I think it's worth giving it a shot. Worst comes to worst, you can turn it off.
There you go.
I sadly didn't have that option, but because I really wanted to turn this movie off halfway
Joe Dorado,
through.
He's in the trenches for you, people. Yeah.
I do this. I do this for you. We got one more movie today. Another action-ish movie, kind of. And I never saw this movie before. Andrew, I believe, has.
Wait, what?
And I never saw this movie before. That's why I wanted to do it so bad.
Are you kidding me?
I've never seen any of this series before.
What?
Any of it. No, that's why I wanted to do it.
I think a lot of people will have the same reaction when you tell them what it is.
Yeah, we're reviewing Ocean's 11.
Smash and grab job, huh? Slightly more complicated than that.
Say we get down the elevator we can't move, and past the guards with the guns, and into the vault we can't open. We're just supposed to walk out of there with $150 million in cash.
Yeah.
Oh.
The first of the Ocean's trilogy, because like the main trilogy, because there is the Ocean's 8 spinoff, but Ocean's 11 is the first of the trilogy, 2001, starring. I mean, I won't summarize it. I want Andrew to summarize it, but it's starring Brad Pitt and George Clooney, crazy other names, which I'm sure we will get to. It's a classic. I understand a lot of people have seen it. A lot of people have seen the whole trilogy. I have only seen now the first one. I am interested in seeing the other two in the future now. Just because those movies have mixed receptions. Like some people really like those movies. Some people
Ocean's 12 blows, in my opinion.
Dude, some people love Ocean's 12.
I don't know why.
I heard. I don't know. I'd be
Who
interested.
Are these people?
I'd be interested because I did research on the other movies afterwards because I was curious if they were any good. Because this is the only one I've heard a lot about.
Yeah.
And they got, dude. Some people love the second and third one, so I'm interested to see. I would love to do those in the future, but we'll have to save that for another day. But anyway, this is about Ocean's 11. And I want you to intro this one, Andrew.
Okay, so George Clooney's character, Danny Ocean, is fresh out of prison. And even though he's on parole, he decides best course of action is to rob a casino. So he gets a group, he goes around and gets a group of, the I was going to say some ridiculous way to describe them, so I'm struggling to find it out. So he goes around and finds the best of the best to join his crew. People who've been in the game for a long time, people who are new to the game, like Matt Damon's character. Altogether, there's 11 of them to attempt and do what no one has ever done before and rob a casino blind. They'll get away with millions of dollars. They'll get like eight figures each.
Yeah.
That's so once they divide it all up. So they get this crew together and they go to the casino. I don't know if I want to. No, I guess I won't. I guess I'll leave it there because I don't want to necessarily spoil that one part. If it comes up in our conversation, I guess it's not a big deal.
I mean, this movie's been out for a while. I feel like we can.
Oh, that's true. So Julia Roberts' character, Tess, is Danny's ex-wife, and it turns out that she is dating the owner of this casino.
Yep.
Andy Garcia's character, Terry Benedict, who owns the Bellagio, right?
Yeah, the MGM, the Bellagio, and the Mirage.
Right. So the most of the money that's not like on the floor of these casinos is all kept in one vault.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one that they're going to rob. Now,
yes.
Once the others, of course, see that Tess is involved, they start to kind of question Danny Ocean's true motives for wanting to do this this basically impossible heist. There's a lot at stake here, and it might not be for the reasons they thought, which is of course, getting rich, getting that big score, to use the industry terms. But more a personal vendetta that Danny Ocean has against the guy who's sleeping with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? I think that nails it.
Yeah. No, I think that's pretty good. I guess the first thing to talk about, this cast is fucking nuts. Holy shit.
Yeah.
This is this is like the craziest cast since like the Avengers. Like that's
the thing I was thinking as I was like
nuts.
When rewatching this movie, I was like, is this the best cast name wise? Is this the best cast ever? And obviously you go right to Avengers. Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Avengers, people knew Robert Downey Jr. and they knew Chris Evans a little bit. At least they would have recognized him and stuff. Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
But those movies,
Mark Ruffalo too.
Yes, but they weren't the biggest names at that time. You know what I mean?
No, they weren't.
Obviously,
right.
Downey Jr. is in a league of his own.
Yeah.
But he had this movie the Iron Man really revitalized his career.
Yeah.
So those guys, they became famous through the stuff, playing the characters that would lead up to Avengers.
Yes.
These guys, these are already like the biggest actors in the world.
Yeah.
So that's what puts the Ocean's 11 cast over Avengers for me, without a doubt.
I agree. I'm just trying to think if there's any more comparable like casts. Like
I don't know now. Not with this many, man.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's true. Like, dude, this movie has George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Julia Roberts, not Ben Affleck,
Casey
Affleck. I should probably just
Bernie
look up
Mac.
a list. Yeah, I should probably just look up a list. Don Cheadle.
Andy Garcia. Did we say him already?
Yep.
Elliot
No,
Gould.
we haven't. Mm-hmm.
And obviously, Carl Reiner.
Yes, Carl Reiner. That's who that was. Yep. And I don't think we're missing.
Well, you've got Scott Conn, who's Casey Affleck's brother as well. Obviously Casey Affleck wasn't huge at this time either.
Yeah.
But I think that he's now gone on to, Scott Conn, I think that your grandma might be a big fan of him because he was on the Hawaii Five-0.
Yeah.
But that's a little different.
Still.
Not that he's not doing well. I don't want to get on Scott Conn's bad side.
No, I think
he's not doing well for himself, but it's just different.
Just the three names alone of George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and Matt Damon. I'm gonna throw Julia Roberts in there as well. Okay,
those four.
Julia Roberts. That's just an insane cast already.
Yeah, and I don't think that I can't. Although Monuments Men had a lot of guys, but that movie was not good.
I don't remember.
So I don't
that movie.
see. So I was gonna say I don't see this sort of cast ever coming together again.
Yeah, you know what? Like I will say, Tarantino movies get some really good casts.
That's true.
I will say that. I wouldn't say to this level, but they get some good ones.
A lot of times with the Tarantino movies, because even
like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
you obviously have three huge actors there.
They're huge,
and you have some others sort of dispersed throughout. But here's the thing: these actors in Ocean's 11, they are basically all sharing a good portion of the screen time, and they're all interacting with each other. Obviously, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, DiCaprio and Pitt get a lot of time together, but Margot Robbie, none whatsoever.
Yeah,
with the interacting with the others.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to see a movie where you have all of these names being a constant part of the movie and constantly interacting with each other.
That's true. Yeah, so crazy cast, great cast. They're all great in their own right. I do want to shout out, before I get to more technical stuff, I do want to shout out to the two characters that stood out to me the most, if I'm being honest. Like, everyone did great, but the two standouts, and I was very surprised by this, Casey Affleck and Scott Conn. They're every scene they were in together and their chemistry, I enjoyed it 10 times more. They are so good. Like, I think they're the best characters in the movie, and I know that might be a little like, what? Like, Danny Ocean's the best. Like, okay, Danny Ocean's great, but dude, they're the best. Like, they steal the show every time. Like, I saw them on screen. Dude, the balloon scene is so fucking funny. Yeah. Like, that scene is so good when they're just arguing about the fucking balloons, and he goes, "Yeah, I gotta go take these balloons. I gotta deliver these balloons now." It's like, I loved every scene with them. I also want to say, I've never seen Don Cheadle in a role like this, like, or Carl Reiner. I've never seen Carl Reiner in a role like this.
Carl Reiner could do anything.
Yeah, it was great, but like, I've never seen Don Cheadle in a role like this. Like, fair. And he did it great. Like, his accent was fantastic.
Okay, here's where we're gonna disagree a lot.
Oh boy,
his accent was fucking terrible,
dude. I thought it was good.
It was bad, Joe. It was bad. It was bad. Joe,
maybe it was bad.
Joe, Don Cheadle's accent, it was terrible.
Maybe it was bad, but I thought it was actually pretty good.
It was so bad, Joe. And all the fucking, it felt very 2001 to me. The dialogue that they gave him, like all the words that he used, like, let's see, Don Cheadle's line. Let's see, what's he got to say? Let's see, we look out, guys, we're gonna blow the safe. Okay, so Cheadle's saying it, so we got to say, what you could do, the dopey, we're gonna blow the Woochie Bowl, you wankers.
Yeah, that's true. I understand that. They definitely used his, like, he had like all the like cheesy lingo. For sure. They had a lot of lingo in this movie.
Well, just like a language that was like, hey, remember, this guy's British. Remember, don't forget. And his accent was so bad.
I really liked his character, and I really thought, like, I don't know, I've never seen him play a character like this, and I thought it was cool. And his accent, like, okay, it wasn't obviously a traditional British accent, but I don't think it was like, you can say, I understand where you're coming from, and maybe it didn't fit, or maybe it was too over the top for his character, or distracting.
I don't think it was
for his
over
character.
The top. I think it was just bad.
I think there's like, I don't know, Don Cheadle to me comes off as an actor that, like, you know, doesn't, like, I don't know. I just feel like he definitely researched and maybe sure he did, but picked a different dialect.
Sometimes it just doesn't go, man.
Okay, it didn't stand out too much to me. Like, it definitely was a different accent. It distracted
me every time that he said something. I was like, oh boy.
Like, I actually had to like look up and be like, wait, he's not British. Like, he's American.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I had to make sure he was American. I was like, he's not British, right?
Oh my god.
I was just checking. I'm not saying it was the best accent ever. I can see where you're coming from. I'm just saying, like, it didn't stand out to me that much. Like, it didn't bother me as much as it bothered you. But I can see where you're coming from on that. But accents aside, I really liked him in this movie, and I liked his character. And yeah, this movie, technically, I love the structure of this movie. I think the intro is like such a cool intro. Like, I love it. It just starts. Like,
I gotta say, just sorry, but while we're talking about sort of the beginning of this movie, best character intros, best handling of introducing a lot of characters ever. It's great, hands down.
It's so good, dude.
You could not do it better.
The introduction to Danny Ocean is so good, and I mean, and you're right, all the other characters too, but Oh my god, like
spectacular. Even Don Cheadle's character, great intro.
oh, that
He's
was
probably
a
got
good
the
intro.
best maybe of the others. Of course, Brad Pitt's is awesome. Just best character intros, because that's something you really have to think about when you have so many characters that you have to juggle in this. Like, how do you introduce them all? And they could not have done it better. Unbelievable.
My favorite was still definitely Casey Affleck and Scott Conn. Dude, every moment they were on screen together, I laughed.
They're phenomenal. They absolutely do steal the movie. And it's because of what you said is right on point. Their chemistry is unbelievable.
It's so funny. Casey Affleck is just like, he's so good at being and I don't mean this in a bad way. I really don't. But he's really good at being like a punching bag, like kind of character. Like because he's like the guy who like gets, usually like he's the one that gets like, you know, he's the one that the joke is on, but like he's still in on it. Like it's
yes. That's the thing, is it's a very difficult balance. There's a nuance to that. That's tough to handle. I think you're right. He does have that ability. He's just a great actor, though. Oh,
he's an amazing actor. And I really don't mean that in a bad way at all. But like, he's the one that like is getting like, I don't know. Yeah, you know, it's funny. Like, and just his intro with the car his RC car gets destroyed. So funny. Like, I was like, classic Casey Affleck. Classic Casey Affleck. So I love that he was in the movie with Matt Damon, which I didn't even know Matt Damon was in this movie. So I was like, Jesus Christ, This movie is like crazy. But once I saw Matt Damon and Casey Affleck, I was like, where's Ben Affleck? Where is he? I'm waiting for him. He didn't show up. I was expecting something with him. I'm sure he produced the movie, I'm sure he was a small producer or something.
I don't know. Maybe not in 2001.
They're always involved together.
They had some big producers on this movie, so I don't think.
Yeah, true.
I'd be surprised if he was.
They're usually always involved together. That's all I'm saying. So like especially back then, I feel like they were.
Yeah, but this movie is on a completely different level.
That's true. Yeah, but dude, So I really like the structure of this movie. I think it's really well done. Like the way they reveal information is really fast paced, but I think it's really well done. And I don't think it's too context heavy. I think it's actually, all the dialogue is very necessary. And I think they show what they can. They show what they can. And I really like that. I think that was really well done. I like that they don't give you all of the information. For most of the movie, they don't give you all the information, which I really like.
Well, that's one of the best parts.
Yeah,
that's what makes the end of this movie so phenomenal. And I feel like even if someone wasn't, I don't know how you could be disengaged throughout the movie. Once you see the end, it makes everything better. That's such a big part of this genre, this heist genre.
Yes, also. And this is one of the biggest ones for sure. Obviously, from your surprise when I told you I didn't see it before.
Yeah.
I will say, and this is where we will probably disagree a little bit. This movie was, I like this movie. It definitely, I think my expectations going into it were a little too high, or it did not live up. I don't think it was like as good as I expected it to be. It was good. It was a good movie. It just, and I know I said this for the last movie, and I swear it's not like it's just a coincidence. This movie, for me, lacked a lot of danger. I gotta say, there was not one point in this movie, because of how it is told and because of how it's shown. And I said I like the structure of the movie, and I do, but because of it, it does have a downside of, there was no point in this movie where I thought they were going to get caught. I didn't think they were good. Like, I didn't, there were like a few things that happened, like leading up to the heist, that you're like, oh, they're going to get caught. But I never fell for it. And I never thought, there wasn't 1 second where I was like, oh, these guys are going to get caught, or these guys are in real danger here. There's no element. There's not that For example,
and that takes it down for me. You didn't find it as compelling because
for
danger.
Yes,
I didn't feel that.
For example, there is there's so many heist movies. Like, so I'm just gonna name one, and you might not even count it as a heist movie. I do. I'm gonna say there. I think it's MI5, Mission Impossible 5 is like, yeah, that's like basically a heist movie. I obviously Mission Impossible is so like it's an insane force. Like I can't just compare the two movies head on, but I will say, just as a general example, with most heist movies, they usually have this element in the movie where there is a wrench thrown in the plan. And I'm not saying there weren't any wrenches thrown in the plan in this movie, but there was no like crazy, there was no like big wrench, there wasn't a wrench big enough thrown in the plan where I was like, oh shit, they're in trouble now. Even in like, there's just, I never was like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Like, and I feel that in every heist movie usually. And in this one, I just didn't feel that suspense or that like danger. And that I think detracts from it. It was more just like, oh, well, they're gonna be fine. And that kind of made it less fun for me to watch.
Interesting. Let me tell you why I didn't feel that. I think it was because what it sounds like is, and this is interesting in how I wonder people as a whole will perceive this movie. My interest in this movie, what keeps my interest, is not so much the if they're going to get away with it. It's the how.
Okay.
So that's the difference. So this element, I mean, I don't think that you even through suspension of disbelief, I don't think there's any suspending your disbelief in this movie to think that they might get caught. I agree. There's no point where you think that they're not going to succeed. But that doesn't detract from it for me in the slightest. I can certainly understand your point, and it makes a lot of sense. But just the excitement of the actual event, I guess, and the how they're going to do it. That's what keeps me invested, because you don't know exactly how they're going to do it.
No, you're right. And that is, I definitely agree with you. And that's super fun to watch. I think if I saw this movie years ago, I would have a much different opinion on it.
That could be. I think a big part, I mean, I don't want to put this on you, but kind of what we talked about with the last movie's expectations. This is definitely a movie that if you talk about it with people, I don't think anybody will have a bad word to say about it. And it's just a very different movie from
other heist movies.
Other heist movies and any other heist movie that would come out now. It's very, very different.
It really is.
I don't know. You might have waited a while on this one.
Yeah.
That might have taken it down a little.
Yeah. I will say I still think it's I still was very entertained. I just did not get, that sense of danger that I was expecting to get and not having it just kind of threw me for a loop. And I was definitely not, I just wasn't as engaged as like I thought, like in the same way, I guess. And it's not like always necessarily a bad thing, but in this instance, I think just for my, and this is personal preference, but for my like enjoyment, I didn't get that feeling that I was like kind of expecting. And that's probably my fault, but it just didn't happen. So that's something that I didn't like love. But I will say you're correct where it is a different way of telling a story like this, and the interest is with the how, and you're correct on that. The reason why the how didn't interest me as much as I feel like the danger aspect would have. And I know this is me asking for it to be a different movie, so I'm not going to just go on to this for so long, but I just want to say the reason why I don't think the how interested me as much as I feel like the other aspect would have if it was in the movie is I don't think the how matters as much if you know it's going to be okay. And I know most movies have a happy ending, so like you could be like, oh, well, every movie is going to be okay. Like, sure, but I just I don't know. I like that feeling of suspense. I really like when I get that reaction in a movie, and I didn't really get that in this movie, and I feel like it makes the how less meaningful. But that's just me. I agree with you, and I agree that's definitely how like where the entertainment stems from, and I was still thoroughly entertained, just not as in like really into it as I thought I would be. Like this is kind of for me more of like a casual like watch. Like I wasn't like yeah, like oh, are they going to do this? Like it was more like just a really fun casual.
I think that's what it's supposed to
action movie. And that's fine. I just thought
you wanted more out of it. I understand.
I was expecting more out of it. I was expecting just a little bit more out of it than just a like casual. Like I thought it was going to be just a little bit more. But I know that's maybe not fair of me, but I don't know. But that being said, I don't want to just like act like I didn't like the movie. I actually really liked it. It was really fun. And I thought it was very smart for like how it all came together and how the movie was structured. It's fantastic. The ending is great. It makes me want to watch the other ones, especially after hearing the different opinions on the other ones. Cause like, I can't believe like how split the second one is. Like people either love it or hate it. Like it's crazy. And it's really cool. I think it starts great and it ends great, and everything in between that happens is like really fun. And it's a really fun movie. I really like Matt Damon's character. I think there's some moments. I think there's one moment in particular that could have been cut out of this movie that I don't think was necessary. I think it was just stupid. It was the part where Matt Damon gets out of the van and like, tries and helps George Clooney, and then George Clooney gets in the van and they're like, "Oh, where's Matt Damon?" And then they have to go back and get Matt Damon.
Yeah.
But, like nothing comes out of that scene. Like we don't learn anything more about like
it's just to try and throw another wrench in the.
But it wasn't even like a wrench. It was like the security guards didn't do shit.
No, the wrench was not that Matt Damon almost got caught. The wrench was when he gets back in the van and Yen's hand gets smashed.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That did actually have to happen. Yeah, I guess that's fair. I did forget about that part. That was the one part where I was like, oh, this is actually like that. I will say that was one good part with the wrench, but I just don't, as I said, I don't think that wrench was as huge as I was expecting.
Sure,
but
sure.
Either way, I'm beating a dead horse at this point. Everyone's great in this movie. There's so many fun parts in this movie, and we haven't talked about the so-called villain of this movie, the guy who owns the casinos.
Terry Benedict.
He's great. He's really good.
Excellent.
Him
kills it.
Watching him and George Clooney on screen together are awesome. I think they have really good, I really like both of their characters when they're clashing. Brad Pitt and him clashing is also good. I don't know. There's really nothing else to say. Like, that's the other thing is there's not many sequences in this movie that really there's really good moments and it's a fun movie, but there's not too many sequences in this movie that stood out to me so much that I'm like, oh, we got to talk about this one sequence. Right. So like I said, it's a very casual watch, I think.
That's true. Opinion. And I like that about this movie. It just reminds me of such a different time.
That's true. That's very true. I kind of wish I saw this movie earlier. Not even I
think you probably would have liked it better.
Yeah. And not even not even that much earlier. just like because I don't think maybe if I watched it as a kid, but I'm saying like maybe even just like in high school if I saw it, I would like it more. But anyway, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this one. Do you have anything else you want to add? I know I kind of went on a tangent there.
I think that some moments that I liked, I just feel like there was sort of a little something extra in this movie that sort of plays into the gang, the group that's involved in this heist. It felt a lot to me. It felt a little Circle of Life-ish because you have guys like Carl Reiner and Elliot Gould who have obviously been in this game for a very long time. You have Danny, who's kind of, you could say probably at his peak, maybe. And then you have Matt Damon, who's super new to it.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was a little something kind of extra that was added a little more depth to the movie. And I also liked the transitions a lot. I thought the transitions between scenes at certain times were pretty exciting, and they definitely.
Oh yeah, you're right.
They definitely pulled you in. It was definitely like, oh, now we're going. Now we're in this. Like now what's the next thing we're going to do?
Yeah, the elevator. Yeah, you're actually right. That definitely goes in line with the structure of what I was saying. Sure. Like the structure of the movie, like the editing is great, and those transitions are really well done. The one shot that comes to mind that I loved was when it transitioned with the elevator in the beginning when they're still meeting the characters. Brad Pitt and George Clooney get in the elevator, and as it shuts, when it is supposed to open back up, it like opens to, or maybe when it shuts. Either way, the transition kind of goes with the door. Like it's like a screen wipe, but it was a really good screen wipe. And there are not many instances where I would ever like a screen wipe. This isn't Star Wars, but that's a good screen wipe.
Yeah, you know when you see it, you know good. Screen wipe when you see it.
You really do. Yeah, it's very, dude. It's hard to pull those off, but when it's an instantaneous reaction, like you know it right then and there if it's a good screen wipe or not. Isn't that like crazy? Like you just know. It's one of those things like. It's just an instinctual reaction. Like you just know. I don't know. I think that's fun. But yeah, I really like this movie. I definitely do. And since you rated the last one first, I'll rate this one first. I'm gonna give this movie. Oh boy. I'm gonna give this movie 8 juice boxes out of 10.
That's a good score.
Yeah.
Kind of going back and forth.
I can't give it 9. The highest I would go is 8.5. But that's me.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to give it a 9. Okay. There's just something about the feel of this movie. I think part of it, obviously, I mean, one of the reasons I think this movie is going to, remain, at least in some respect, in the cultural zeitgeist is because obviously the number of stars that are in it. Yeah. But also I think a big part of it plays into something that you said you didn't necessarily enjoy was how easily digestible this movie is. And in a lot of ways it just reminds me of sort of this time past. It reminds me of a little bit more contemporary version of like old Hollywood. For sure. You have like Jimmy Stewart and Clark Gable in the same movie or something like that. And I just don't think that this is a movie, this sort of movie, everything in every aspect that's going to be made ever again. And I'm not saying I don't think that's a bad thing. But I think that this is just a very enjoyable movie. Yeah. And I think that it does everything really well. Some things it does perfectly. So I'm gonna give it 9 juice boxes. I think
that's fair.
I think that's a good score.
Yeah, I think it's fair, and I agree with basically everything you said. I'm curious. Yeah, like I said, I'm curious. I want to watch the other two, even if like I really want to see. Like I feel like the other two movies are so split. They're those kind of movies where like it'll be really interesting to like talk about, like especially if we have differing opinions on either of them. But that'll be for a future episode. But definitely stay tuned for that. That'll be fun though if we do end up doing that at some point. I never seen. Also, I obviously haven't seen Ocean's 8. I don't even know if that was received well. I have a feeling it wasn't. But did you see it?
Yeah, I saw Ocean's 8. I thought it was all right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then there we go.
I'd probably watch Ocean's 8 before I watch Ocean's 12 again.
Shit. Okay. I'm kind of damn. I kind of want to see this movie because. Okay.
I don't know. It's
That's
just kind of, if you watch it, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, that's now that you said Ocean's 8, I kind of feel like I remember hearing, like, I never saw it, but I remember hearing it was like, it's not bad. It's not like that good.
Definitely not bad.
Yeah. Oops. But yeah, so okay, well, I think that is the show. So thank you everyone for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed. We are on social media. You can catch us at Instagram at film_juice. You can also catch us on Twitter at filmjuicepod. And that's really.
And listen to the Two in the Cooler episode that Joe is on.
Oh, yes.
Which is probably all out by the time that this episode comes out. Of Film Juice. So go back and listen to that episode of Two in the Cooler.
Hell yeah. That'll be sick. And yeah, that'll be as I say every week, next episode should be the anniversary episode. This will be very exciting. We got some new stuff happening. You'll see as you watch the episode and as you listen to the episode. And
Jesus Christ, Joe. You blew it.
I didn't blow it. I didn't blow it. We just moved past it. No one will notice. And then we have an announcement, and that'll be really cool. Finally be able to announce this new thing we've been working on. So that'll be really fun, and I'm very excited. And my name's Joe Dorado.
I'm Andrew Canada, and we'll see you next time at the movies.
No dramatic pause that time. Just did it.
Yep.
Just went for the classic.
Sorry, I blew up your spot there, Joe. But I just thought it was so funny.
Not in your face. You were in my face. Into me. You got in my way. I was trying to deliver my balloons. Gentlemen. He's a balloon boy. Balloon boy. Yeah, balloon